You are tuned into the Bianca Burwell Show on the TheBeatDropsRadio, your top 40 pop and R&B station, the new beat of Atlanta, also 93.1 FM in Toledo, Ohio. Today is part 2 of the destruction of the middle class, and we are pleased to have Doug Lehman in the building. What's going on, Doug?
Hey, glad to be back. Got a chance to listen to the shows on TuneIn Radio. Not to recap everything, but I'm glad to be back. You guys are holding it down. And I love what I was hearing yesterday, and I loved what I was hearing Friday's show when I tried to call in, but you can't control the mountains, and you can't control cell phone coverage.
You cannot do it. You cannot.
So it's all good. Terry Moore was a great show. Yesterday was a great show, so I'm glad to be back with Antonio Wolf making noise up in here.
Making noise and biting people.
All right.
Have mercy.
I'll have mercy. I'll bite.
Oh, my goodness. So we got an interesting show. We're going to pick up where we left off. Of course, recap a couple things in case you guys missed it. And now, Doug, you got a little bit of sports for us?
I'm going to drop a few sports things. We're going to recap the NBA, maybe. Talk about what's going on, free agency.
All right. Well, we'll
11-year-old professional female golfers playing, stuff like that.
All right. Well, we'll definitely roll into that because people miss you when you're not here. Do you know that? I get messages.
Checks in the mail.
I'm serious, though. You don't believe me, y'all.
20%.
Oh, man. So if you want to see everything that's happening as it happens right here in the station, just go to TheBeatDropsRadio.com, click on Box 5. And the Q&A box is open, right? Yes, the intern is on. The Q&A box is open. So if you have any comments, you can type it right there. It takes about 20 seconds. And also, too, let me say this. When you call in, turn your radio down. You know what I'm saying? Antonio, we get all kind of feedback.
I heard myself as much as I like to hear myself talk. That wasn't very
Turn the radio down when you call
experience.
That way there won't be any feedback and you won't get kind of confused because we're just, like I said, about 20 seconds ahead of what you are listening to during the feed. The calling number is 404-826-9223. Again, 404-826-9223. So we're going to kick it off with a couple things, and we'll be rolling into that sports update, the Bianca Burwell Show, here with Antonio Wood and Doug Lehman. Keep it locked right here on the Bianca Burwell Show.
my memories.
So jacked up. The series is coming up Saturday, June the 21st, featuring the MC Lightfoot, Keon Dancy, Rob Maker, and also special musical performances by Kenny Miles of the Rude Boys and the Point Blank Band. They are going to be killing it. The tickets are $20, so make sure you go to GwinnettCenter.com. GwinnettCenter.com to get your tickets.
Stone Mountain's premier state-of-the-art technology center invites you to listen to today's hit music, enjoy refreshments, network, and plug into the World Wide Web in our relaxing atmosphere. Located in Northeast Atlanta, the Web Zone Cyber Cafe offers a convenient and enjoyable location to check your email, surf the internet, print, scan, fax documents, and make copies, all in one location. Visitors can connect to the internet using our high-speed computers and receive online assistance at no additional charge. Our 1,500 square feet cyber cafe is staffed with highly qualified and knowledgeable trainers. Ask about our mobile training for seniors program. We deliver up to 8 internet-ready computers to your community center and train seniors to effectively use the computer and safely surf the internet. Visit us online at www.thewebzoneatl.com or call 770-465-4000 for more information and rates. The Web Zone. Get away and get online.
Sorry about that. You know the music, Doug Lyman.
Time to put it to you in layman's terms with your Beat Drops Radio sports update. Brief and to the point. Been out of pocket for a little while, but I just want to recap a few things going on. We're in a weird time in sports because the NBA is done, thinking that we'd have games 5, games 6, and 7, but let's just recap briefly.
Nobody told them. They should have stretched it out. But go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, we know the Spurs were victorious, and now what's going to happen with the Heat? LeBron is going on vacation and said he'll get back to everybody about his decision, whether he opts into a new contract or test out free agency. You got Chris Bosh and D. Wade also on contract. They can opt out. So there's funny money being played, and what's going to happen? Are they going to break up the big three?
They need to.
Need to do something.
They need some help, man, because it's just absolutely ridiculous the crap that I saw happen. They have no bench. They have no bench, but the Spurs, their bench is deep. It's like they take out a 3-pointer, put in 2 more 3-pointers.
There's definitely changes have to be made for the Miami Heat, but it was a good series. I will be remiss in reporting that happened the other day that Hall of Famer Tony Gwynn, San Diego Padres, great all-time baseball hitter, Golden Glove player, passed away at the age of 53.
Wow.
Might be due to cancer.
Oh, man.
Chewing tobacco type of cancer. They were saying they're trying to diagnose that. So
that's tobacco, man.
Throat cancer or something?
Yeah, so he's got issues that he was liked and loved in all the media, and he performed well on the field, and he did his thing. So that happened a couple of days ago.
Jacked up.
Yeah, he's jacked up at that young age.
Right.
Speaking of young ages, 11-year-old Lucy Lee is going to be playing golf in the U.S. Women's Open.
Wait a minute.
At the age of 11. 11. She qualified in some. They have some type of preliminary tournaments where you can qualify to play in the big pro tournament.
Yeah.
And at 11, 6th grader, she's on break from school, so she'll go out and hit some golf balls. 11. She's been interviewed on all the media right now. She speaks every bit of 11.
Is she like
she's
really
good? She's good.
She's that good?
Yes.
At 11?
Yes.
Oh, she is.
The record was 13 by Michelle Wee, but now the age is 11.
She like intense training, just nothing but adults.
So
all ages.
it's getting a lot of pushback from some people saying she's too young. Some people say
they should put a cap on that. They got cap. You can't. Is there something like that in the NBA? Isn't it? I mean, because
you have to just get out of high school.
At least get out of that's like a joke of 13.
In the NFL, you have to serve
11.
You have to have 2 years of college.
He's got to have like a grade 19 to get over in Europe. You've got to have some type of stipulate, but it's a whole different sport. It's a qualifying tournament. I don't really know how much 11-year-old can qualify for that, so I'm not going to sit here and try to explain golf to you because I don't know. Okay, I can just be quite frankly, I'm just going to put that disclaimer out
I
there.
appreciate that.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm just saying she's 11 years old and she's playing golf at that young age of 11.
That's just
Expectations will be high.
Yeah, they're going to be.
When she's 13, will you make the tournament?
But you know what, though? At the same time, they may need the publicity.
Yeah, and speaking of publicity, we all know what's going on as far as the world and the World Cup and soccer.
Yeah,
yes,
what the heck?
Team USA finally defeated Ghana 2-1. I know it's old news, but it's still news you can
I'm
use.
surprised. You know, in Ghana they play soccer barefoot with a medicine ball. Just
Did you say medicine?
they play soccer barefoot with a medicine ball.
Mercy.
But I don't know if you had a chance to see that. Most of America probably didn't see highlights of that. I'm not. Again, we had Grant Tudd in here a while back on our show,
Yes.
and Grant's actually Graham. That's his name.
Graham, we call him King Tut.
King Tudd. He's
Yes.
actually interviewing for the president position for the new soccer team here in Atlanta.
Oh, that's hot.
So hopefully we can get that on, and we can be a flagship station, and we can do all whatever.
Yeah, that would be absolutely great.
So
King Tut, call me.
call in and let us know. But the World Cup's going down. USA was victorious against Ghana 2-1, and now they play Sunday against Portugal.
Now, how many games do I have no idea.
Did you see the look? They got certainly. I think there's like 16 teams. They got different divisions. We're in a division called the League of Death.
No,
Because it's so difficult to get by. That's what they said. You're in the bracket of death.
they want to make sure those freaking Americans aren't going anywhere.
Exactly.
I saw this like animated type thing where it had American soccer players lined up looking towards the ones they were competing against, and they all had like the same look, the same haircut, and all of that. And Americans had like buzz haircuts, and some had stringy hair.
Some had dreads and everything.
Yeah, and looking at them like, really? We playing against y'all? They was looking like, we will kill.
It's the Russian Terminator.
That's what they look like. All right.
Yeah, so there we go.
Okay. So yeah, moving on.
Moving on. So more soccer. Soccer all day long. No, but right now, that's basically it. We got baseballs going in full swing. NBA draft is coming up soon. Hopefully, if you're a Heat fan, maybe they can reload in the draft.
What do you think about the draft itself? I mean,
The draft is deep.
so with like teams like the Heat that obviously need a bench,
Well, they need a bench.
do you get pushed to the back of the line as far as draft picks are concerned?
No, you're stuck where you are in the draft. So what the Heat are going to have to do is rebuild with the money they have. Certain players, D-Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron, got to take less money to get money, spend more money on to get players.
So
it becomes ego, or it becomes, do you want to win?
They should send Bosh back to Jurassic Park.
So, I mean, LeBron looks like he may take less money if they spend more money.
Well, he just got a big payoff from the sale from Apple with
Exactly.
with trade. He got $30 million off of that.
So, I mean, money, I don't think none of those guys are going hungry.
No,
the question is, they all have the option to opt out. Well, basically, what it means, they can test free agency, take a pay cut, and one of those guys locks into a higher salary, then it makes it harder. It's like basically the three of us here, we're all millionaires, and we really want to win, and we need to bring Young Buck over here to come in, an intern, to come in here and make us run better.
Right.
Does Antonio want to take a pay cut? Does Doug want to take a pay cut? You want to take a pay cut? You're the marquee player. Do you want to take a pay cut? Maybe, it becomes that type of thing.
I understand that.
So, I mean, LeBron, the target is going back to Cleveland. Chicago's making a run at him now.
Really?
They're also making a run at Carmelo.
I knew that.
So, the Lakers really don't have a chance because their money's kind of funny because of Kobe. Kobe did not take a discount, but he said, "I want to be the highest paid."
It's like, you're gonna pay me.
You're gonna pay me. We have no team, but we're gonna play with what we have, and that's me.
He's all jacked up. I think he should just go ahead and retire. I do.
Still think he's better than LeBron.
Kobe? Man, I'm gonna turn his mic off. That's foolishness.
Don't you dare.
Foolishness.
So it will be an interesting off season to see what people do as far as how they contracts are being moved. Where's Carmelo gonna go? Is LeBron gonna stay? The draft coming up. We'll get all that.
We'll get all that. Well, we appreciate you, Doug.
You're all right.
All right.
get more gossip and more controversy stories coming up, you know, in sports in the off season. So.
All right. Cool beans. Well, keep it locked right here. We're going to be talking about, this is part 2 of the destruction of the middle class. When did it begin? Who made the decision? What does it mean for you right here on the Bianca Morrow Show? Keep it locked. located at 4454 Rockbridge Road, Slovakia, Georgia, open Tuesday through Saturday. They offer sew-in, custom wigs, cuts, colors, and more. Attention licensed and professional stylists and barbers only. Styles of Essence has booths for rent. Contact Miss Tamika at 678-656.
And it's live right here on TheBeatDropsRadio. That's right. On Thursdays, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and on Saturdays, noon to 1 p.m. I want to keep it locked right here on WBT. Hey, what's that playing on your tablet?
You are tuned into the Bianca Burwell Show on the Beat Drops Radio, your top 40 pop and R&B station, the New Beat of Atlanta. Also 93.1 FM in Toledo, Ohio. What's going on, Toledo? No, yeah, nice. This is part 2 of the destruction of the middle class, and I have with me Antonio Wolf.
Uno, dos. Because it's 2. Just,
and Doug Lehman.
Trace.
Are we only on 2, son?
Uno, dos, tres.
Really?
Wait,
Really? I'm doing this. Is that what we're doing? So yesterday we had a lot of interesting conversation, and it would be only right and only fitting to recap some of the things. But first, the call-in number is 404-826-9223. Again, 404-826-9223 is the call-in number. The listen line, if you're about to walk away from your desk, your cubicle, or whatever, the call-in number, the listen number is 401-347-0418. You just want to call from your phone, office phone, whatever, and just listen in. If you want to see everything that's happening as it happens in the station, just go to TheBeatDropsRadio.com, click on Watch Live, and you'll be able to see everything that's happening. We have the Q&A box open, so if you want to type some comments, stuff like that, give us about 20 seconds and we'll be able to see it. And I got to say this, Iran is listening. Iran and also Czechoslovakia.
Oh, shoot.
Czech Republic. Should we be concerned about that?
Ask them.
I'm cool.
No, but anybody that tunes in and listen in, we greatly appreciate you. We definitely appreciate the support. We definitely appreciate you here. So if you can get a chance, go ahead and hit that Q&A box and ask us questions, comments, concerns.
All that stuff.
All that good stuff.
All that good stuff.
Word.
All right. So just a brief recap. We talked about the middle class on yesterday, how it was created. And it's not something that was created by accident. It actually was by choice. And it's nothing normal about it, of course. So the middle class, what was necessary in order to create it was the heavy taxation of the very rich. The very rich.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess some people can call it
the 5%.
I guess some people can call it redistribution of the wealth.
But if they already have the wealth.
Redistribution of the wealth. You don't have money. If you're at the bottom, they take the money from here to give it here.
Mm-hmm.
As a redistribution. Some may disagree. You're more than welcome to disagree.
But that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, please do. That makes for a good conversation. But despite all of that, capitalism is not an economic system that produces a middle class. It just isn't. That's not the purpose of capitalism. Capitalism is to make sure that the rich stay rich and the hell with everybody else.
Not only just stay rich, get richer. Because they're trying to maximize their profits by any means necessary.
Yeah, you stand there. A friend, my assistant there in New Orleans, Bianca, sent me something. I'm going to make sure that I purchased that. And you mentioned that you saw it too on the History Channel called "The Men Who Built America."
Yeah,
and I did not get a chance. All I saw was the snippets that they have available on YouTube. And if you buy it directly from the History Channel, it's like $20. But if you go elsewhere, you can get it for less, or so they say. Maybe even free. I don't know. But it's dealing with Rockefeller and Henry Ford and J.P. Morgan Chase. J.P. Morgan, excuse me. I'm used to the bank, so I know. J.P. Morgan. Let's see, who else is in there?
was Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan.
It's like about
I think
$5.
was it Rothschild?
I don't know. I'll get it for sure, or we'll pull it up. But I'm going to order that. And some of the things that I saw on there, I just was like, wow. Because Rockefeller was like, look, you might call it, what did he say, capitalism or something like that? He said, but he calls it enterprise. That's what he calls it.
That like
well, I guess, not to, because I know you're going to go in deep on this.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds, and I'm asking you, capitalism, what do you want? Socialism? Do you want to be in India and have a caste system where you're born into something and you're stuck with something, or a free enterprise? I mean, land of opportunity, land of no opportunity. I'm just saying.
I do not want to be in a caste system at all.
Okay.
That is not.
I don't want to be in
a caste system. Go ahead, Doug.
Do you want to be in China in a socialist, communistic state of government?
I've heard the term socialism and all that quite frequently. So I'm going to say this.
It's like a dictatorship.
A dictatorship?
Or that too, yeah. Depends which side of the dictatorship you are, government.
Well, further recap,
I know we're going a whole other thing. Because I'm proud to be in a capitalistic country. Okay.
Amen.
Okay. Well, we can rip all we want about the term capitalism. I'm getting away from the middle class concept.
No, you good, because all of it.
Because I do not want to be somewhere else. I do not want to be in Bangladesh. I do not want to be over in Iran right now, especially.
No.
I do not necessarily want to be in India.
I'm cool.
Czech Republic, much love, but no.
Yes, we appreciate you. But, at the top, there's a very small class of the super rich. And below them, there's a slightly larger, but still very small middle class of professionals and though they're the doctors, lawyers, shop owners, who help keep things running for the super rich and supply the working poor with their needs. And at the very bottom, there's a great mass of people, typically over 90% of the population, who make up the working poor. So you got the working poor, the lower middle class, the upper middle class, and then you have the 5% and then the extreme top 1%. Everybody follow? So for average working people, there's no such thing as like a middle class and normal capitalism. It just isn't. Now, we talked about Reaganomics on yesterday too, right?
Yes, we did.
All right, 1980.
Reaganomics, monotomics, high inflation and taxation.
Go ahead, Doug. He said, I'm wrong.
The military was strong. Some people, the economy was strong. That's all I'm saying.
You sound like schoolhouse running.
You did a schoolhouse wrestling?
Yes, I did.
That came out at the same time. Let's keep it in perspective.
Yeah.
Wasn't that bad. It was good hip hop in the 80s.
Yes, it was.
Kids today suck ass with the economy. And
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I love your verbiage, dude.
You're class. But I have to bring it down a little bit.
You just get swallowed in the neck.
I saw that from.
Wow.
I saw that from.
The intern might.
You got my intern mic.
You feel what I'm saying, though? Think about it.
Yes.
Oh God. We feel you, dog.
Golly.
Oh man. You're
So
awesome.
Reaganomics. What's your memory of Reaganomics?
I remember the 80s being fun. I didn't have to worry about eating. For me personally, we had a strong military. We spent a lot of money on nuclear weapons, and we were a beast of a country. Nobody messed with us.
I see that.
Sure use that today.
The serious space and
Gas prices weren't as high.
Gas prices weren't
That's
as high.
Under $1. Under $1.
They still was under $1 even after I moved here. I moved here in '95. So it's past rate,
Yeah, I'm just saying.
It was under $1 then too. So what are you saying?
I'm just saying, it wasn't that bad as I don't know. Word Reaganomics. I know you're gonna go.
Reaganomics. Yeah.
More atomics.
Yeah, because with Reaganomics, because GM, General Motors, that was one of our biggest employers at the time. And you've got the working class people that they were able to make money, right? And be able to take care of their families. Everything just seemed like it was hunky-dory, it was cool. And then when Reaganomics came in with the deregulating and cutting taxes on capitalism, right? Then all of a sudden we saw a shift where it went from like 70 to 91 down to 28%. And then all of a sudden, the people in that working class start finding it increasingly difficult to be able to take care of themselves, to take care of their families, to be able to pay bills. That's what we saw. And I know I specifically saw that. I said this on yesterday with my mom. All of a sudden, she went from being able to take care of everything to what the hell?
I was young at the time, and that happened to me. That's right.
Like,
I remember it happening just like that. It was crazy.
Yeah,
I had to adapt. I was so young, and I had to just adapt to start wanting. You know what I mean? You know how when you're young, you don't want for anything, you don't need anything. Now you're just like, I need this, I want this. Why don't I have this anymore? It's crazy.
couldn't make it.
Yeah.
You got the top tax rate for all. The time America's middle class was created was between 74 and 91%. So Ronald Reagan dropped it to 28%, and working people moved from the middle class to becoming the working poor. You're working, but you can't make the ends meet because you don't have the money for that to even happen. So there's a gentleman mentioned to me, actually, my big brother, not my big brother John, my big brother Jeff. He was telling me about Hugh Downs. You heard of him?
Yes.
What do you remember about Hugh Downs?
Then you try to start a space channel or something.
She said Space Channel. I remember being on CNN, and I did see
What did it buy Space Channel? He got a lot. Yeah,
interview him and all that.
yeah,
Are you saying that his thoughts was like way out there?
yes, but he did want to start a space channel.
But he also was talking about the
first
vanishing of the white and the middle
Right.
class, and that he had seen that previous, and all the stuff that I had been researching and looking up, and even Tom Hartman, he wrote something about how America killed its middle class, and this is a decision that obviously that we made some time ago to get rid of the middle class, but did we know it? Did we realize that?
So this was during the 80s. This was during that time.
Well, Hugh Downs was talking about that even as much as 7-8 years ago.
Okay.
He was talking about that like, is anybody looking to see that this is what's happening in America? So do we need a middle class?
You think?
I'm asking.
Oh, I thought you was asking him.
I think we do. I think we need all. I mean, but again, it goes back to.
Absolutely.
I'd like to be a middle class myself. so I take it back to myself. But yes.
I'm putting it like this: we definitely need a middle class because it completes the circle. Right now, the circle of the circulation of the wealth of the money. You know what I mean? Now it's like we're not getting none.
But if you're in the land of the free, that means that you
Is
have the
this
same.
really free?
You have the same opportunities
No,
in
you don't.
comparison.
No, you don't have the same
How
opportunities.
you don't?
You have to for some.
You're swollen the neck. Here you go.
Yeah, you're right. No, we don't have the same opportunities because for some, you have to actually work to create an actual opportunity where other people are given an opportunity. And when you create that opportunity, it's not going to be the same as that one that's given. Because
Who's given the opportunity? Did Rockefeller, was he given that or did he take it?
I'm not sure. I didn't see it. I
Henry
wasn't
Ford,
there.
was he given it or did he take it?
I wasn't sure. I wasn't there. But still,
You watched the
I know it's
documentary.
hard. I watched a couple of clips.
You build an enterprise.
And even
Okay, so
that's still TV. They could have put exactly in there what they want. They could have
this
put
is
in there
history.
what they want. History Channel on the TV.
Yeah, all they
that
were
means that
doing-
they were made. That means that some things could have been taken out. Some things could have been perpetuated to look like something else. They could have. Obviously, it could have been something that they wanted you to believe.
Right. He built up a company called Standard Oil, right? He built
Yes.
it up, and he built it up so well. He built a monopoly, and then he got so well that he could charge any
price he
he wanted to. That was free enterprise.
right?
So there's a point.
So
Look at the phone companies; they all
Exactly.
merging and stuff.
you remember,
So don't hate the player, hate the game.
I
That's what I'm trying to
I'm
say.
just saying, Rich Ellis couldn't do it.
how do we get to Frederick Douglass? I'm
Just
asking
saying.
about how did Frederick Douglass get into the conversation?
What? I'm just saying.
Well, he's going with this
I'm going with
opportunity card.
I'm going
He's
with
looking at opportunity card. That's what another. I see where he's going.
You know where I'm going.
Well, tell me where you're going.
Because You're
There
saying
wasn't
that
money in the railroads. I don't know, but you know.
there was definitely money in the railroads. They expanded. When the people that invested in the railroads got rich
Yeah.
and beyond their wildest imaginations. You know what I mean? So, I mean, even if you weren't for it, if you had that little money to invest in that piece of railroad, buy that railroad, yo, you got rich beyond your wildest imagination because that grew, that tripled, quadrupled, 10 times, 20.
I'm going to let everybody go to their corners for a minute. We'll be back after this. Tony Braxton, please, y'all tripping. 404-826-9223. We'll be back after this. licensed and professional stylists and only.
Oh, I found this 5 business lessons from the man who built America. Pretty interesting thing. I'm forming it now, just something I want to incorporate. Hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Something just happened here. I'm trying to get it back up. Email your YouTube links, website, and contact information to the TheBeatDropsRadio@gmail.com to set up appointments today. It's been gearing up for the new year, expanding our network to include interesting, creative, fun, original, and captivating shows. And this just we are family friendly, top 40 pop and R&B station located in the Atlanta metro area. Now, if you don't live in the Atlanta area, you have frequent choose. We have time slots available for you too. Don't delay and email us today. The BeatDropsRadio@gmail.com. The Young Girl Show, Beat Drops Radio, and 93.1 FM Internet. And we're talking about the destruction of middle class. This is part two from the things that we discussed on yesterday. And some people felt as though education made a difference. Do you care to recap some of the things that we talked about over the break, briefly?
I was talking to Antonio about, we were talking kind of off topic but on topic, because he brought up a good point about opportunity from his perspective of having the opportunity, land of the free, home of the brave, and all that, but having the opportunity to have opportunity. And he kind of like that. I was touching really on what's going on over in Iraq right now. I know that, Antonio served over there. He has a much different perspective than my blind way of thinking from the news and stuff. So I was just asking about that, but he shed some other perspective on light about opportunity. Whether you're a soldier or whatever, but you still, at this day, we have the opportunity in this country to do things, but do you really have the opportunity to do things on a fair scale? That was what he enlightened me on.
I was basically saying that everybody has a different type of opportunity. Some opportunities have to be created, some are given, whatnot. And he was also speaking on caste system as well. But every opportunity that you have, that you created, that you are given, whatever, in this country is affected by one way or another, either by the way you look, by where you come from, by who you were born from, who you were born to, your last name, and everything. All of that goes into effect.
Are you talking about inheritance?
I mean,
essentially?
Just even your last name, who you were born to. You know how you said how if you're in the caste system in different countries, that if you're born royalty, you're going to be royalty, blah 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 blah. But
is that a bad thing?
I mean, it is what it is. I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing or a good thing. If they want to keep it, if they want to preserve their culture and keep it in their family and their name, what you do. Because I mean, I think some people should take upon that as well. Some people just demolish their culture, demolish their name, demolish their family for no reason instead of thinking about preservation. So it is what it is. But all in all, what I was saying is that just the opportunity itself is always affected. Whether you're poor or rich, whether you're black, white, yellow, red, whatever, whether your last name is Williams, Jacobson, just talking that.
Or Rockefeller.
Or Rockefeller, or Rothschild, just saying. So I kind of beg to differ with home of the free and land of the brave.
I mean, it is home of the free.
But,
it is.
I beg to differ.
Look, we're free to walk the streets. We're free to, like you said before, I don't think I would point it that way, but since you pointed that way, land of the free, but I'm free enough to be able to do a lot of things. Like I'm able to do what I'm doing now. That should be the feeling. Some countries I couldn't even speak, let alone have a game or just looking through something with just my eyes. Same. This is a much better situation here. We have a much better situation than other countries do, and the inhabitants of that country.
So, I mean, it's
so. We do. Oh, okay.
It is what it is. It's all across the area. There's some other countries that's better than this one. Some other countries that's worse.
This is like, what country is better? There isn't any country. There's no other country that's better, else they wouldn't be trying to come. I mean, if you're gonna say it, I'm gonna put your feet to the fire.
I mean, I'm just saying that's all a matter of opinion.
Dude.
I say Canada is better, then I mean you're gonna be like, well, no, it's not. It's cool. Whatever.
No,
So then
I'm
if I
talking
say
about
France is
as
better,
far as
I say
opportunity,
it's
you wouldn't
France
have
is
so many. You wouldn't have so many wanting to come here. If it was telling me, I don't see anybody like getting on any boats trying to roll over to the Soviet Union. I just don't. You know, you have folks that have gone there because they were running
I ain't see
from
anybody
here.
trained in boats going to the Soviet Union either.
Well, every country has had slaves.
You're absolutely right.
Every country has had slaves. Every type of economy, you know, even when we talk about the caste system, every last one of them had it. So that doesn't exclude the United States, especially if they're coming from, you know, where they came from. So all of that, and even London. I mean, London, they have slaves right now. If you have an opportunity, look up it's a true story called I Am Slave, and it's an indie film. And I think if you have Netflix or something like that, all you have to do is look it up. I Am Slave, and you'll be able to see it. And that's talking about, you know, slaves like right now.
That is a thriller biography. I Am Slave. It was created in 2010. So
see how soon that was? I mean, how they go in 2010, and they're talking about the slaves, and they still, you know, are raiding and demolishing communities and villages and killing the men, the husbands, some of the boys, taking the girls and enslaving them, having the wealthiest of London come and choose which ones they want, grabbing them young, and they cannot even, you would think it's the people next door. You wouldn't even have any idea knowing that they have a slave in the house. Can never see the light of day.
Believe it or not, America does that too.
That was my point. My point when you said nobody was brought over there and something, I'm saying every country has had that. That was my point, and I brought that up just to prove my point that every country has had slaves, every last one. So that doesn't make us any difference. What I'm saying is that even with that being said, people are constantly coming over here. I don't hear any other countries talking about an illegal immigrant problem. Do I?
Yeah, they do.
Oh.
You know, France have it, but it's easier to be resident of France. Russia have it. It's easier to, but it's still.
Who is trying to break down the doors of the Soviet Union?
I'm just saying, they still have it. They still have it.
They're not breaking down the doors.
They still have it.
I think you're arguing just on it.
No, I'm just saying they still have it. It's still a problem. They still consider it a problem.
I'm just saying that as far as country, isn't that a communist country still, Russia?
Yes.
Okay.
The Soviet Union is no longer.
All right. So
and
Russia,
countries in countries like the Ukraine, who were part of the Soviet Union, became their own country, and now they're having some issues. So you know, there's oppression and regression,
everywhere,
depression everywhere.
Absolutely everywhere. So what I'm saying is that
I do like the fact, just what Antonio said earlier. I hear what he's saying about at least having you being judged and having the opportunity. But there's haters, lovers everywhere.
So what do you do? Is that, do you take the temperament to say, all right, I'm a member of the middle class.
I'm oppressed. I'm pissed off.
I'm just gonna stay here, and I'm just gonna say I didn't have an opportunity, or do you make an opportunity and take advantage of the things that are in front of you to take advantage of? Because obviously, with all of the things that are taking place right now, we see what President Obama, the things that he's trying to do. The top 5% is $250,000 in income or more. $250,000. And if you remember when he was running and campaigning, he said those that were making $250,000 or more were going to have to pay a little bit higher taxes. What we didn't recognize is that who he was hitting was he was going after the top 5% in the country. Did y'all realize that or no when that was happening?
Yeah.
Anybody?
I remember that.
Okay, so now he didn't talk about those that were under. He was like, we're going to pay a little bit more. And of course, those in the middle class, the working class, and like I said, it's the working poor. Let me pull something up because, right, exactly. Because it's understanding poverty, the middle class and the upper class. Okay, so you've got, and I just $23,050 That is the poverty line in America. 23,000. We talked about this yesterday. $23,050. If you made that, family of four, if you made that, you are in poverty. I mean, that and below you're in poverty. Okay. Now the next level of income is the middle class. Now that's a broad category which we talked about on yesterday. How can I say? The working class falls at the lowest end of the middle class spectrum. These workers are employed in blue collar industries, and they're paid by the hour, and typically have lower levels of education. They just do. GED, well, no education, GED, high school. You know what I'm saying? Next is the lower middle class, which is primarily comprised of the lower level. That's white collar workers. These workers typically have college educations, but they lack the graduate degrees needed to advance to higher levels of employment.
So that would be like trade, people that has trade and like electronics, vocational trade. Or
well, not necessarily even just a trade, but you have a college education.
No,
business administration,
managers,
and they make between $32,500 to $60,000.
That's what I was saying. But they will fall under that too.
Mm-hmm. Then you have the upper middle class. They typically have the postgraduate degrees and work at high-level white-collar positions. Household income for these workers is often above $100,000. I felt that for a little time. Just for a short time. And it was like, yeah, back down the ladder with you. So this is according to the Census Bureau. Upper middle class or professional class workers earn enough to be in the top 1/3 of American incomes, but they're still the middle class. And the next income level is what is commonly called the 5%, or the percentage of Americans who make more than $150,000 annually. At the top of the economic ladder is the so-called 1%, or households that earn more than $250,000 annually. So those that are making $250,000, I mean, with all of us, we all want to make more money, right? Of course. Well, nobody wants to stay exactly where they are. Do we?
No.
So even if you're a member of the middle class, do you want to stay a member of the middle class?
Not at all.
So what do you do?
Move out the country.
What do you do, Doug?
You try. You make moves. You try to make things internally happen.
You take risk.
Yeah, take risks.
You take risks. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. Right? That's usually how it is. Because you're trying to, all in all, if you keep working with somebody and you're not getting where you feel that you deserve to be, or that where you feel your value is, you're going to take a risk. You're going to try to create your own. You're going to try something different. Recreate yourself. Recreate yourself business-wise, and you're going to take that risk and try to shoot for that reward. Now, most guys who are successful, they failed many times before actually succeeding. And I mean, even after you're rich, you're still going to leverage yourself to a ridiculous degree in order to make the next thing happen. So I mean.
But the thing about it is that America, we've allowed something, as far as the Free Trade Act or whatever, we've allowed for countries to be able to move their businesses and corporations to other countries where they don't have to abide by things like minimum wage, where they don't have to abide by things like FMLA.
Yeah, they pay factory workers 83 cents to make a pair of tennis shoes.
Aflac in India.
No, there isn't. So what I'm saying is that regardless of how we feel about the situation, this is something that's real and it's happening, and there's nothing that we can do to put the brakes on it right now, because it's more expensive to employ our spoiled asses than it is to just move the corporation over to another country.
There's something we can do about it.
What?
Vote. Don't be a rock. Just lying around.
Even voting. I mean, look at the individuals that you have. Matter of fact, Bianca sent over to me something. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I kind of go.
37 senators just blocked a bill that would have allowed struggling former students to refinance their loans at lower rates.
You know, there's something about that as well, though.
And Saxby Chambliss is in Georgia. And he voted.
All of them Republican. It's just kind of a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence. It is what it is.
All of them Republican. 37 senators just blocked the bill that would have allowed struggling former students to refinance their loans at lower rates.
Mm-hmm.
All Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who put them there? Who put them in?
Doug.
Yeah, well, you know, yeah, because I voted for. I always vote Republican. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you gotta look at what it is.
Right.
Who put them there?
The people.
Because the working class.
The
I'm
people that
sorry,
didn't vote.
y'all might be mad at what I'm about to say.
Let me talk about Congress for a second.
All right, go ahead. Talk to me about.
First of
Congress.
all, that visual that you can't see on the radio. Second thing is all congressmen and women. Their job is to get elected, and once they're elected, they don't give a damn about the way the government is run right now. I'm sorry, in layman's terms. Although it's still the best country, checks and balances, executive, the judicial branch, whatever the third branch is. But one thing I do like about this, yeah, okay, and all this history is your story. Repeated, it's his story.
Right.
Okay, but at least we have the ability right now, at this time, was about 4 something Eastern Standard Time, to speak our mind, freedom.
Yes, that is freedom. I just to be able.
But I don't know. I just went off on a tangent. Yeah, you're right. We voted those fools in, but their job is to get elected. That's my problem with Congress. There's got to be better checks and balances. That's a whole other topic.
But if there's something that's in place and they're all in agreement as to the direction that they want the economy and everything to go, and no one goes to the polls, should I repeat this again?
I just don't know how you can, and I hear what you're saying. We vote to elect those people to make those asinine decisions. I'm pushing the envelope today. I know it.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, how do we, they get elected, then it's on them.
Not because of the decisions that they make. It affects everyone.
Right.
But actually, I think, being...
One thing about
go ahead.
One thing about the rich, they stick together. The people that have the money, they're sticking together. So they're getting those people in there that's going to protect their money, that's going to make sure their money stays with them. The poor folk, they scatter. They're not sticking together. They're not voting. They're not going to the polls. They're not putting the people in.
They're not educated.
And man,
they're not educated. And that's what I was going to say.
That's my next point.
Is that you may be familiar with Rush Limbaugh. I listen to Rush Limbaugh.
I was Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh. And I could have went somewhere with that, but I'm not. Rush Limbaugh, and he was playing some clips today of President Barack Obama. He was addressing the lesbian and gay community. All right, he was playing some clips, and what Barack Obama was talking about was making sure that now you're in. You need to make sure that others like you are in. And Rush Limbaugh was his comment, or the point that he was making was, he is talking to those that feel like they've been pushed and squished and made fun of, and no more is, he said, no more is the white guy going to be, the rich white guy going to be in charge. We're going to be in charge, and we need to give more money because we're coming for you. That's what he was talking about. Okay. Because what he's saying is, and what Rush Limbaugh made a great point. Never mind. It'll be good to listen to our position. But is that he said that's not where we are in the economy right now. We're not there. It's not socialist. It's capitalistic. Period. That's not where we are. He said maybe we might head there one day, but where we are right now, and that's the reason why they have a problem with, additional problems with Barack Obama, is because he's trying to put things or perpetuate where we were and not where we are currently. That's not where they want to go. They don't want to go towards a socialist type situation. They want to go towards a capitalistic situation, which is where we are, and get rid of the middle class. There's also a quote here that someone had sent to me, and I found it very interesting. And Frank Woolworth, do you remember Woolworths?
I remember that.
Man, I remember Woolworths when I was younger. Going into Woolworths.
Even gold blacks.
Yep. And something that he said is that they have to have cheap help, or they cannot sell cheap goods. All right, to his store managers in 1892. That's how long, when he had a chain of 5 and dimes. and he only had a handful of outlets at the time. He said, when a clerk gets so good that she can get better wages elsewhere, then let her go. It may look hard to some of you for us to pay such small wages, but one thing is certain: we cannot afford to pay good wages and sell goods as we do now, and our clerks ought to know it. Now, Sam Walton, he's somebody that understood that as well, because he ended up going to court over the amount of money that he was paying his employees at one point in time at the very beginning, because he wasn't paying them hardly nothing. And then when they called him to the carpet, Sam Walton of Walmart, when they called him to the carpet about it, he gave them checks that they had to. I'm going to have to put this up so y'all can see it. But he didn't want to pay them that minimum wage. He wanted to pay them less than that. Period. And when he was found guilty, quote unquote, and he had to pay those settlement checks, he said, anybody who cashes this check, you will be fired on tomorrow. Keep it like right here. We're going to continue the destruction of the middle class. Erykah Badu, didn't you know? Keep it like right here.
on TheBeatDropsRadio.com starting at 9
Okay, all the chicken.
again every Sunday morning. Inspiration right here on the Beat Drops Radio, 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in. Download the TuneIn app so you can take it wherever you go. Win the app right here on the station. Streamer radio, we are available. Make sure you get that inspiration that you need.
You only hit these 5 minutes listen.
Stone Mountain's premier state-of-the-art technology center invites you to listen to today's hit music.
What about the other facts from yesterday?
Plug into the World Wide Web and our relaxing
Just a few of those. Only
located
those
in
two.
Northeast Atlanta. Our website,
let's roll with
Cyber
those.
Cafe, offers
First
a
five.
convenient and enjoyable location to check your email,
Five
surf the
first.
internet,
You know,
print, scan, fax
Yeah.
documents, and make
Gotcha.
copies. All in one location. Visitors can connect to the internet using our high-speed computers and receive online assistance at no additional charge. Our 1,500 square feet cyber cafe is staffed with highly qualified and knowledgeable trainers. Ask about our mobile training for seniors program. We deliver up to 8 internet-ready computers to your community center and train seniors to effectively use the computer and safely surf the internet. Visit us online at www.thewebzoneatl.com or call 770-465-4000 for more information and rates. The Web Zone. Get away and get online.
You are tuned into the Bianca Burwell Show on the Beat Drops Radio, your top 40 pop and R&B station. 93.1 FM. Calling number is 404-826-9223. The Q&A box is open. If you want to see everything that's happening in the station as it happens, just go to TheBeatDropsRadio.com and click on Watch Live. And you'll be able to see everything that's happening in the Q&A box. Give us about 20 seconds if you use it. And the listen line is 401-347-0418. 401-347-0418 is the listen line. If you don't have internet connection or went down, call it. Just saying. I'm going to bring up something because we are talking about the destruction of the middle class, something, and the middle class being wiped out of America. Out of existence, yes. I'm going to bring up something. I'm going to see if you remember it. You probably do.
Come on with it.
Presidential election.
Come on with it.
Mitt Romney.
Mm-hmm.
Mitt Romney
Uh-huh.
was speaking with very wealthy donors.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And if you remember something that he said that, he got roasted on, I think it was Jimmy Carter's grandson or something.
It'd be. It'd be.
And what he said was, there are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. And there are 47% that he knew was with him. And, but the 47% who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe the government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they are entitled to health care, to food, to housing, to you name it. Romney called half of the American population dependent, right? Victims who believe that they are entitled to the basic necessities. Now he's talking to a whole bunch of wealthy Americans, right? Who were supporting his campaign. Y'all remember this?
Yeah, I remember that. And he didn't know who his target audience was. He slipped.
That one got in there
Right.
and told everybody. And I think that's basically objective. But what I think about that is, or what do y'all think about that? In respect of what it is that we're talking about, the destruction of the middle class.
I mean, with the destruction of the middle class, basically, the people that used to be the middle class, that now are now the poor class, and have grown to be the next generation of the poor class, the poor working class. Of course, I believe that they are victims. They depend on that. You know what I mean? They depend on the government to supply them with food, welfare, jobs, things like that. So I kind of, in a sense, I kind of agree with him. Although I don't like him. It made sense what he said.
Doug?
I kind of same take. I don't care much for Willard, but middle class is getting smaller.
Willard.
Independents are growing higher. It's just what it is.
Yeah, they can't rely on the baby boomers no more.
Yes,
Right.
It's a new generation now.
Just 1 second.
So-
We'll have you on.
So basically,
2 seconds.
I mean, he kind of went harsh with the people that actually is funding this campaign. But I mean, it really, it's not like he was lying at all. You know, people are dependent on the government. That's why people vote. That's why people come out. That's why people support different politicians, because they are dependent on the government. And in a sense, most people that are dependent on them actually sometimes feel like victims, whether they want to believe it or not, or whether they realize it or not.
All right, so we have a caller on the line. Caller, Obadiah, how you doing there, sir?
Obadiah.
I'm doing well.
Pretty good. Do you have any questions or comments or something you want to say about today's topic, the destruction of the middle class?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, how can we help?
With the people, with the destruction of the middle class, and with unemployment rate being high as ever been, I would like to know what the people are doing about it as opposed to waiting for the government to destroy the middle class. What are we as people plan to do about it, and what are our options to stop that? Because, you know, they are only going to do what we allow them to do.
So your question is, what are we able to do to stop the destruction of the middle class?
Yeah, yes. What are the plans that are in place to stop them? Because there are certain things that we as people have a right to do. We have a right to stop them from doing certain things. But if we don't know our options, then they are going to destroy the middle class.
In actuality, I feel like it's not a whole lot that we can do to stop the destruction of the middle class, aside from changing our temperament from feeling like we're waiting for someone else to do something rather than doing something ourselves, like i.e. Becoming educated, taking business classes, opening up our own businesses so we can support ourselves, create jobs for ourselves, and becoming entrepreneurs and creating those several streams of income. The same things that the elitists or the top 5% have done in this country, taking advantage of those opportunities. That's my.
We are going to be wiped away. And I say we, I don't consider myself middle class, but we are going to be wiped away. The middle class will be wiped away if they don't take those steps that you don't suggest.
Are there some things that you see happening in your community that you feel like the education just isn't there? Do you see anybody that is motivated to get themselves or put themselves in a better position?
So by the definition of middle class, I didn't grow up around middle class, so that's not my world. My world is, by definition, the numbers, lower class people who live like middle class and survive like middle class and don't aspire to be middle class or upper class. You know, they live in a world of survival and making it happen. So it really don't affect me, you know, only by what I see. But as far as my everyday and people that I know and interact with, I do not interact with people who live by number standards of middle class. So I don't think many black young Americans in Atlanta live by middle class standards and have those, you know, I just don't see many young black people in Atlanta who really can be affected by the middle class and who live in this middle class and have a plethora of associates who are middle class. I just don't, you know, I don't think it's relevant to many black people in Atlanta that this could happen. And this will happen if we don't do this, we don't do that. Most people are living check to check, you know, hustling out here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just think that people are making $70,000 to $80,000 and, you know, and could possibly be wiped away. I just don't think there's a lot of young black people in Atlanta who are living like that.
You think they just don't care? They don't know and they don't care?
Yes, they don't know and they don't care.
So the mentality is really something that they need enlightenment. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but a lot of times because we come from a place of being brought over to a country that wasn't ours, doing work that we didn't want to do, being made to do things. So I believe we are learned by when things happen, then that's when we react when things happen. I think it will have to happen, and then by then it'll be too late, of course. But we don't think that it's going to affect us. They've been talking about this for some time now, with the New World Order and all that. They've been talking about certain things for far too long, and it has not happened. It's like the Great Depression. They didn't talk about it. It happened. So a lot of catastrophic events that happen, and the people have to adapt and do it. So a lot of things that they've been talking about, people not going to believe it until they see it. They've been talking about it for far too long.
Okay.
So that's why I just think people, like people, we just learn different. And things affect us different. It has to be in our face and happen right then and there because we're natural survivors. So when it happens, we feel that we can adapt or find a way and crawl out of there. But, to just talk about it, it's going to happen. You don't know how you would feel. That's like a spouse. If your spouse cheat on you, you don't know how you would feel if it happened for real. The thought of it is different than the actual action. So for our people, I think that we're just natural, instinctive people, and when it happens, we survive and we deal with it, or however we deal with it, we deal with it. But to talk about it and to plan on it, people don't want to come out of their comfort zone to even think about what will happen to the middle class. And the middle class do not want to think about that because they want to live rich. So they feel that they are one step, one network, one person away from being rich. So the thought of not being middle class and being wiped away and to be living poor, that's not even a thought that they want to even consume. They don't even want to think about that.
It sounds like a reactive type of thinking rather than a proactive kind of thinking. Would you agree?
Exactly.
So what can be done to change that reactive? The reactive to a proactive type of mentality.
Unfortunately, I think it's going to have to happen. I think the disaster is going to have to hit in order for them to get it. That's the only way. A lot of the people who own, a lot of the black people who own businesses and homes and whatever else we had during the civil rights movement, once they allowed their business to be taken in order to support the white establishment, then they realized that, we should not have been marching with this. We should have been fighting for economic freedom as opposed to civil rights that we should have been born with. But the movement happened then, and they lost everything. So they lost it. They was tricked out of it after the movement happened because they were following the bigger movement.
So lack of education yet again.
A lack of education yet again. I think a lot of this stuff stems from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. They never want the black community to ever thrive in that way. They never want us to be together in that way to have another Black Wall Street where everything was black, where they said it took 3 years for $1 to leave the community. They never want that to happen again.
Now, I've heard of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, but I haven't had the pleasure of reading a lot on it. Can you just kind of brief us a little bit since, you're such a willing caller. I appreciate you because I done had you on for like about 6 minutes.
Black banks, black grocery stores, black libraries. The real estate were owned by all blacks. They had, they gave everybody loans. They didn't charge, I don't know how interest rate, it wasn't no usury or against their brothers and sisters. Everybody who went off to college came back and worked in the community. Every black pharmacist, black doctor, black teacher, black person, everything was black. It was in a community within a community. Everything was black. Everything, the education, the food was grown and eaten. Everything was black. And they did not want that. Everything was black.
What time frame are you speaking of that this took place?
This was in the 20s and 30s. That's why they manipulated Martin King to fight for civil rights because he had the charisma and the power to create another Tulsa, Oklahoma in the South. But they did not want that, so they directed him to civil rights. So later on, before he died, he made a speech, a powerful speech. He said, I have deeply entered my people into a burning building. I deeply regret that he knew what they allowed him to do. They marched with the dollar, but they didn't come back with the dollar. He realized that later. That's why he changed his mission and tried to go back to the gospel, because he realized that they used him to fight something that he should not have been fighting for in the first place. But they knew that he had the power to create another Black Wall Street in the South. He had that power because Auburn Avenue was one of the richest places in America. Right there where the FCLC sits at. His organization he founded, he knew the potential of Auburn Avenue, so did the whites. Whenever he came in the South, the only Black hotel you could get was at Auburn Avenue. So he knew that. He knew that. So they didn't want him to focus on that because that would have only empowered and strengthened the Black community as they focus on economics. They don't want to focus on economics. During the Christmas holidays and Thanksgiving, one of the biggest consumers, we're the ones going out here as a whole, spending $200 on sneakers, spending $50 on Gucci handbags and Gucci apparel when they don't want us to wear. We're the ones going out here keeping Ralph Lauren in business, buying all this polo on Ralph Lauren. We're the biggest consumer. We own nothing. We spend billions of dollars on clothes, hair, nails, everything. And they know that we have the buying power because we don't have 700 credit scores. So everything we do has to be in cash. We're not charging anything. We have to spend it in cash. We get it and go out. Even the food stamp dollar, it doubles when you're talking about cash. It doubles. So yes, they don't mind giving this Black woman who got 2, 3, 4, 5 kids. I'm saying the white women don't, but talking about the Black people, we consume welfare at the same time. The free school share they give us, the food stamp, the Medicaid, that equates dollars. Like that doubles and triples when it comes, to Medicaid and WIC and all that. That doubles and triples once you turn the dollars in. Once you cash in the food stamp and the vouchers, that turns into dollars and it doubles and triples. And they're making money off of us. And they use us because we use this stuff. And we get it, we spend it. Income tax check, we get it, we go out and buy clothes, cars, and everything. We give it right back to them.
Wow.
And they use this against us. The Black Wall Street said, we don't want your food stamps. We don't want your government assistance. We have Black banks. We have Black hospitals. But as officers there, we're not charging people an arm and a leg to service them. Because they wasn't trying to live above their means. Everybody lives in the same community. So everybody's house looks the same. So there's no need for envy and jealousy to set in because we all look alike.
You brought up some valid points there, some stuff I'm not ashamed to say I did not know. Antonio, did you know about any of this?
I knew about some of it as far as he's talking about the circulation, the lack of circulation with the Black dollar, about that we are the #1 consumers in America. And we have nothing as far as the food stamps, the WIC, and everything like that. I know that they making money off of that. It's one of the reasons why you don't pay taxes when you spend food stamps or WIC or anything like that. So yeah, I knew about some of that. I wasn't too educated on Black Wall Street, simply because I kind of lost interest in it because the gangs actually tried to turn that into something of a violent nature. So I kind of lost interest in it. But I'm definitely after today, I'm definitely going to read back up.
Wow. I appreciate you so much for calling in and sharing those things with us. Obadiah, is that what your name is? Obadiah. Thank you so much. All right now, Obadiah.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you, brother. we definitely need that. I only heard something similar to that, Brooklyn, Illinois, and that was Brooklyn, Illinois, and that was completely wiped out. So I definitely appreciate you reawakening another piece of information that needs to go in our brains.
Well, I think
Black Wall Street, because it is the cornerstone of where they never want us to get back to. They never want us to focus on that, and they never want us to get back to that point because everything was together. Everything was about unity, and they never want us to get back together. And when the gang, I think I heard him say about the rappers when they were doing it, where the gang and Baron Davis from California, they understand where Black Wall Street came from. And when he started it up, they were trying to do it because the gang and Baron Davis grew up in the inner city, in the streets together, and they also play AAU ball together. And what Baron Davis was trying to do was to try to get all of the gang members and the guys from the street and who wanted to do music. He was trying to call the label Black Wall Street because he was trying to keep everything into the family.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why they shut it down because they didn't want people to start inquiring about where this name came from, why you guys calling it Black Wall Street. So they didn't want them doing that because they didn't want the people being educated on where the name came from and why they were saying that they're a family, they keep it in the family. They didn't want them to you know what I'm saying? I mean, they didn't want mainstream to wake up and start asking questions about it. So they shut the label down.
Man, you have completely educated us on a whole lot of stuff. It sounds like you at work, and I appreciate you. Are you at work, brother?
I am.
Right. You talking real soft, like I ain't trying to get in trouble. But I appreciate you so much for calling in, man. You have helped us tremendously in enlightening us on some things. I appreciate you so much. Make sure you continue to listen and tell everybody about the show.
I sure will. So thank y'all for having me.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
All right. Dude.
Thank you for allowing yourself to be had.
Dude.
Man.
You don't expect a phone call like that.
Yeah, we need a part 3.
You don't expect a phone call like that, man. Wow, you look up and there's only 10 minutes left in the broadcast.
Exactly. We need
So,
part 3.
keep it locked right here. We're going to take a short break and then we'll be back to close it out. Keep it locked right here on the Bianca Burwell Show. It's right there. It's at the top. Bring it out. Mute it first. Mute it first. Do it again.
America's 411 2 Rose 44 297 9855. America's 411 2 America's 411 2 America's 411 2 America's 411 2 Rose 44 297 9855. America's 411 Rose
Mighty sharp.
297
Mighty dapper now.
Everybody who's watching here. Everybody's watching.
Styles of Essence Salon, located at 4454 Rockbridge Road, Stone Mountain, Georgia, open Tuesday through Saturday. They offer sew-in, custom wigs, cuts, colors, and more. Attention licensed and professional stylists and barbers only. Styles of Essence has booths for men. Contact Miss Tamika at 678-656-477.
You are tuned into the Bianca Burwell Show on the TheBeatDropsRadio, your top 40 pop and R&B station, the New Beat of Atlanta. I want to thank Mr. Obadiah for calling in and just expressing all kinds of things, and also just listening to the show. We've been talking about the destruction of the middle class, and there was something that we briefly spoke about, the men who built America, correct?
Yes.
And were you able to pull up those men that it was talking about? Rockefeller, Carnegie, Ford.
It was Rockefeller, Carnegie, Ford, Henry Fricks. I think that was and J.P. Morgan.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I have a couple of lessons that the producer Stephen David had basically put. There's 5 lessons that you learn from the show The Man Who Built America. Number 1 is the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. Most of the guys failed many times before succeeding, said David. Even after they were rich, they will leverage themselves to ridiculous degrees in order to make the next big thing happen. It's a lesson that David can relate to. Even when he had history on board for the show, he had a limited budget, but yet big plans for the series. Plus, he hoped to make some money from the project.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "We didn't really make money on it, but we will in the future. Thanks to the success of the men," David said, "he's getting many more opportunities."
Okay.
Number 2 is there are no rules.
No rules?
There are no rules.
All right, so this is the man who built America. They believe in capitalism.
Oh yeah, check
right?
this out.
All right.
He said that when the titans of the industry played by the rules, they were stuck. But when they made their own rules, they moved forward very quickly. As an example, he cites Rockefeller's takeover of the oil industry.
Right.
His ruthless monopolization of the industry was something new, and the government eventually had to step in to level the playing field. It might not have been nice, but it was brilliant. It was a brilliant business move. David says history gave him the room to go against the rules with his documentary series. They said, "Do whatever you want. There are no rules." David says that was pretty much a rare thing to have happen. So, number 3, get the right people on the bus.
Get the right people on the bus?
Get the right people on the bus.
Uh-huh. So what does that mean when you talk about get right people? Are you talking about as far as the people that's on your team? But what does that really mean to get the right people on the bus?
Basically, if you have the right people backing you, your possibilities are limitless.
Well, that makes sense. You understand, Doug?
I
got a couple of millionaires backing me.
He brought out Carnegie. Carnegie knew that Carnegie brought in Henry Fricks. Carnegie knew that the kind of guy that Henry Fricks was, but he needed him to get an edge. He brought him on as he rose and almost failed in his business. But yet just having him added that extra push got him up there to be that name, Carnegie. Everybody know Carnegie. Carnegie Hall.
Carnegie freaking Hall.
Number 4. Money is a good way to keep score, but it doesn't buy true happiness.
It doesn't buy true happiness, no, but doggone it, you sure have the advantage. What you think, Doug?
I agree.
You got the advantage. You might not be happy, but you doggone it.
Oh yeah, every one of them, although they had money, every one of them was always reaching for something else. They the richest man of their age didn't mean happiness for the moguls at all. Rockefeller was a man who was concerned by his own, who was coned by his own father, excuse me. And he always felt like he didn't have enough. J.P. Morgan always was trying to live up to his father. Carnegie was just trying to get respect. Ironically, respect came only when Carnegie gave away almost all of his money. How ironic. The last but not least one. If you want to get rich, come up with something the whole world needs.
Okay, something the whole world needs or they don't know they need.
Something,
because that's what Steve Jobs did. People didn't know they needed smartphones. They was cool with just a phone.
Something the whole world needs. Check this out.
You know what I mean?
It's not having a need, making that influence need.
Influence need.
Right.
You need to like write that down.
I got it in layman's terms. So number 3.
All right. Real quick, he said the opportunities always existed, but it's just a question of who's going to find them. In the time the documentary examines that these things were oil and steel. Today they're Google, they're Facebook. The men who had serious money and power were able to create control this industry. But this isn't a lesson that hits home for David. And he said, I'm not even playing in that game. In order to play, you have to own something like Netflix and change the whole industry.
All right. What's the name of it again?
That is the 5 lessons. Hold on. That is the 5 lessons. The 5 business lessons from the man who built America.
All right. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And again, the destruction of the middle class. So are we cool with being in a capitalist society, or do we want to live in a socialist society? Which some feel like socialism breeds laziness and dependency and all of that. Capitalism, you have an opportunity to kind of, build and gain as much wealth as possible, and just destroy everybody beneath you. I don't know. So if y'all want a part 3, y'all gotta let me know. Other than that, we are out. Tomorrow's Thursday. We are off tomorrow in preparation for the comedy show that is coming up. So just letting everybody know we are off tomorrow. We're going to be running a rerun, but we'll be back in the building on Free for All Friday.
Word.
Yes, indeed. And if you haven't gotten your tickets already, make sure you get your tickets for Big Laughs Comedy Series, and that is featuring Kiana Dancy of Bounce TV, MC Lightfoot, Rod Minger, Kenny Miles of the Rude Boys, and the Point Blank Band. So make sure you get your tickets, $20. Go to GwinnettCenter.com, GwinnettCenter.com. Don't wait till the last minute and you go to the door. I can't say whether there's tickets available or not. You know what I'm saying, Doug? How people be procrastinating.
Try to slide in.
Don't be trying to slide in. If you haven't done it already, please like us on Facebook. Just go to TheBeatDropsRadio.com and you see the big F up there.
We talking about the finger.
It'll take you directly to our Facebook page. Click like and share it with all of your people. Until Friday, we will see you guys later.
Peace.